Hello, good afternoon. Today I'm going to be painting a lure. Like my crankbaits that I caught all the fish in when I won a tournament. This past was 2 weekends ago, and this was one of them here. It's a Strike King 10XD. I painted it. It's got the chartreuse belly, chartreuse line, some gold and black, and then of course the shad dot. Caught quite a few on this guy. Caught all my non-keepers actually on this one. I probably caught 7 or 8 on this one. I didn't get all of them on video. I was more concerned about getting the fish to the boat than, so I didn't get a lot of it, because we probably caught 25-30 fish that day, and I only got some of the ones that we kept. But this was the first one I used, and it done really good. I caught a lot of fish with it. Like I said, it was a lot of non-keepers. You know, it was 14 and a half, 14 and 3/4. And then this one here, this is like my favorite one here. I absolutely love this crankbait. I just on a whim one day decided to do this, and I think I've got 3 of these painted now in the Strike King 10XD, and man, they really work. And I don't know, I think it kind of maybe represents maybe a crappie. And, you know, I don't have no speckle on the side or nothing. I do have glitter in that in it, and I'll show you how I do everything on this bait here. It works. I mean, this 10XD, well, if anybody's ever used a 10XD or the 8XD, 6XD, they all work great. This one I use, unlike my brother, he uses a little bit heavier line. I use a 10-pound test line, and I crank like a devil to get it down quick, and then it's just a stop and go retrieve. I'll crank real fast, 3 or 4 or 5 cranks, and then stop, and then 3 cranks, and then stop, and then 5, or however, you know, I just do 3 or 4 or 5 cranks and then stop. And I burn it pretty quick doing that, but I stop for a second and kind of let it rise back up just a little bit, and then I'll burn it again. And 9 times out of 10, when I stopped it and let it kind of rise back up, that's when I got my strap. It was either there or when I started cranking back again. And that's the way I've always done crankbaits. I mean, I kind of just play around with it and see what they like the best, and sometimes it works, sometimes they just want a straight retrieve. So I mean, it's just something you got to play around with, and don't be nervous about trying new things. I mean, the fish, you know, I try different stuff all the time, and you know, certain stuff works sometimes and sometimes it don't. But crankbaits, you know, even the 8XD, you know, I do it the same way. I mean, I always try to, like, you know, we was fishing roughly 18 to 23 foot of water, which I know this thing will get, you know, 25, you know, plus. I always use a 10XD and 18 plus, you know, 18 down up to 25, because I know it hits the bottom. And if I'm up shallower, you know, if I'm, you know, 14 to 18, I'll use the 8XD, which I know it'll get that deep, because I always, like, I know this one run 25. If I'm going to be, you know, 25 feet of water, I'm going to use this one up to about 14 or 15, because I want it on the bottom. I want it just pounding the crap out of the bottom. I don't want it running up in the water column. I want it hitting off stuff, deflecting off stuff. And I try to pay attention. I got a sense enough rod. When I do deflect off something, I stop, and then I keep reeling. And that's a big key, you know, deflecting off stuff. You know, if you're running, say, even if you're in 10 foot of water, I'll run a crankbait that runs 14 foot of water, because I want it deflecting off whatever. Yeah, you get hung up a lot. I've got a lure retriever, and we got hung up a lot that day. You know, I didn't put that on YouTube, but, you know, you stay hung up, you know, quite a bit, and then you lose some. I mean, it's just part of the game. Anybody that's fished before knows that, you know, you're going to lose lures, and I do lose a lot. That's why, you know, I buy the nude series from Strike King, even, you know, plumb down to the square bills. That way I can paint my own. I started it, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I really enjoy it. You know, the first time I remember the first fish I caught on one of my crankbaits I painted, it was, I like to jump out of the boat. I just really enjoy doing it. And even, you know, my jerk baits, I paint all my own. Square bills, paint all my own. I make some of my own baits. Square bills, I make them out of wood. And that'll be coming up too pretty quick. I'll have some how I make my baits, you know, and they work great as well. You know, I use them mainly, you know, in the spring and winter, fall sometimes, because I do have some. I mean, I even got some deeper diver ones that I try out and have done pretty good with. Up in Pennsylvania especially, because the water's a little bit colder. But yeah, when I use these crankbaits, like I said, you know, if you know, when you're cranking crankbaits, you know, I always get, if you're in shallow water, if you're running in 5 foot of water, get a crankbait around 6 or 7 or 8. You know, I just beat the crap out of the bottom. Yeah, I take the chance, you know, getting hung up. If you ain't there, you ain't gonna catch them anyway. So don't worry about getting one hung up. Get you a lure retriever and hope for the best. Because I mean, it sucks, you know, but still, you gotta be where the fish are at and get, especially the ones that are real aggressive. When they hit, they hit hard. I mean, they try to knock the rod out of your hand. And I always try. I haven't done these yet. I always try to put a red hook up front. That's just a thing I've always done. I played around with it years and years ago. And one of the crankbaits that I really, really love, and it's kind of been a secret of mine for quite a while. My brother knows that I do it a lot. I use in the summertime, I use a Series 3 and get it down, you know, as far as I can. And I got a little sweet spot of water that I hit, you know, and you know, I think I'll keep that one secret for a little while longer. In the summertime, and I catch the crap out of fish with it. But the Series 3, you know, it runs about 11 to 12 foot. The way I crank them with a spinning reel with light line, get them down a little bit deeper. And I think it's just something the fish hadn't seen. So that's, you know, something I like to do. Maybe one of these days I'll give that secret up. But for now, I'm gonna keep that under wraps. But yeah, the 10XDs, the 8XDs, I always, like I said, I always try to get them, you know, whatever depth of water I'm running. Try to stay, you know, move up to the bigger crankbaits if I need to. That way I'll keep in contact with the bottom. And like I said, man, you can reel these things. You can burn them. You can slow roll it once you get down to the bottom. You know, reel it real quick when you first throw it out to get it down to the bottom. Once you get to the bottom, you can slow it down, speed it up. It's just all according to what the fish are doing. I mean, if you change it up and try to play with it a little bit, a lot of times you're gonna get more bites. Because one time, you know, they want it fast, the next time they want it real slow. But yeah, just take your time. I mean, enjoy these things, I mean, because it's on right now, the deep crank. We found them that day, and my brother had already found these fish and had a ball with them, and we did as well. We went back and tried to fish another tournament there, but we only had a couple hours. But you know, we caught a few fish, but it's hard to find a school like that and locate them and catch them in 2 hours. I mean, it really takes, you got to give them, you know, if you're going to fish out deep, you know, fish out deep for fun, hey, have a ball. I mean, you take your time with these fish, because once you find them, they're there. They're going to stay there. And, you know, they might be 100 yards here, 100 yards there, but they're going to be in the same area. And yeah, it's a lot. I love fishing out deep, and I found all of these. You know, they moved around from where my brother had caught them. We moved around and we located them again, and yeah, it was pretty much lights out. I mean, we caught, I think it was over 9 pounds. We lost big fish by a few ounces, which, you know, that's fine. I honestly, I didn't even expect to do much good that day. I was poking and hoping, and it just worked out. Like I said, we caught a lot of fish. Caught some up shallow. I think we got one keeper that my brother caught on shaky head up shallow, and then the rest of the keepers come from out deep. And I caught some good fish out, flipping, but they just wouldn't, we was calling 3-pounders, so that's, which is a good thing. But yeah, I hope that helped you out a little bit, kind of telling you what I done. And I'm gonna put my GoPro on my chest and show you how I paint this thing. And hopefully, if any of you guys got any questions or comments about how I paint them, what I do, or however, leave them in the comment section. I love to talk, anything about baits, fishing, because I try stuff all the time, man. I've got some crankbaits that I can get down to 50 foot if I wanted to, because the way I have them weighted, you just got to fish them slow. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I play around with baits. I even play with soft plastics, and I've got some monster worms that I made a couple years ago, and I've fished with them quite a bit and do really good with them. Kind of design my own tail and everything. They work great, but it's deep fishing. It ain't nothing that they'll bother up shallow, because the worm altogether is like 15 or 16 inches long. I mean, it's huge. I tried it up Pennsylvania, but I think they're scared to death of it up there. I have to downsize everything when I fish up there. But yeah, well, I'll do all that stuff here, later on this summer when we get into it a little more. Worm fishing, it's coming around. But something I did kind of stumble onto. I think we went maybe Wednesday or Thursday fishing. I got on the swing head. I kind of touched on it here and there a little bit, trying it out, but I found some fish out deep in that little magic area that I call, and got a lot of bites. I mean, probably 8 to 10 bites. Missed a lot of them. Hooked a lot of them, couldn't get them with a boat. But I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how to set the hook. But before the end of the day was out, I figured it out. And yeah, that thing's a fish catcher. If you ain't used it, I suggest trying it. And I think I was using a 1/2-inch head. And but anyway, all that I'll do some videos on that coming up and show you guys how to use that, how I rig it up, and what you need to do for the bite. Because I mean, the bite, it's kind of hard to get used to. It was me anyway, because I'm just used to getting a bite and jacking them, and that just didn't work. You had to give them, you got to give them a minute. But anyway, yep, we'll get to painting this thing. And this is one of the little baits that I use for walleye fishing, but I'm gonna paint it up for bass. I'm sure it'll work for walleye too. I'm gonna paint it up just like the one that I caught the most fish on for that tournament the other night. And that's honestly, if I throw 10XD, those 2 crankbaits is the only two I tie on. In the 8XD, I've got some painted up just like it. So yeah, they work. So as long as they work, I'll keep painting them. If they don't work, they stop working, I'll paint something else. Which I paint a bunch of different ones, but these work the best. So that's the color I stick with. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit the notification button. I checked just a few minutes ago, we're at 50 subscribers. Once we get to 100, I am doing a giveaway, and it won't be this bait, but I'm gonna get some probably some Series 3, maybe even some Series 3 to start out, and paint these with a couple, 2 or 3 of my favorite colors. And I'm gonna have a first place giveaway. I'll give away two of the crankbaits, and then I'll do another drawing for a second place, and they'll get one. Yeah, I'll have that coming up once we hit 100 subscribers, which we're doing pretty good. I can't complain. I enjoy doing these videos. I'm just a dumb redneck hick that likes to fish, and if I can help you guys out, try to catch some fish, and that's even better. Like I said, I like to take a lot of friends fishing, try to teach anybody I can about fishing, and like I said, I'd stay out on the water every day of the week if I could, if my wife would let me. I'm just kidding. No, I enjoy fishing a lot. I've got some videos coming up in Pennsylvania. I'm actually heading to work tomorrow, taking the boat with me, hauling it all the way to Pennsylvania from good old Tennessee, and going to fish against some local guys up there. See how that goes. Like I said, I tried to fish with some of them last year, and I paid for an education more than anything because I didn't know the lakes. It was the first time I'd been to some of the lakes fishing, and yeah, hopefully this year I know a little bit more about them, and maybe we can win a little bit of money. Who knows? Either way, we're gonna have fun. And I'm still working on the swim jig video. That's a whole different ball game. But yeah, hope you enjoy. Thanks, appreciate it.